Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today in Cyberpunk 2077 news we're going to go through everything that I didn't talk before from Night City Wire 3, including a post Q&A with Patrick K. Mills, who is a senior quest designer for the game. First off, regarding the Q&A with Patrick, there were a lot of repeating questions, but there were some new things, like for example, elevators in this game won't work as loading screens. Generally the game will load when you enter, when you fast travel, and when you go to sleep, for example, either from free roam or maybe after you finish a mission, because we did see at the beginning of that 48-minute video that after you do, extract that Sandra Dorset to the trauma team, actually the game goes into a loading screen where we wakes up. Of course that could be just a time skip for the sake of gameplay, but I wouldn't be surprised if when we finish a certain job that there might be some sort of a loading screen where we move to some other location. I'm still not sure how they managed to pull this one off or how do they generally hide it, but since SSD is recommended for the game, it's not surprising that the game might load in as you get closer to objects or certain places. Again, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know the actual specifics, but overall, because they said you need an SSD and because of the things the game has to load and, as you play, honestly, SSD is definitely a place to go. Next up, when Patrick was asked about Trauma Team, he said that of course Trauma Team is a very vital part of the universe in Night City. He didn't mention any specific quests, but I am sure there will be some, at least one quest line in my opinion. Regarding gangs, I answered this question a long time ago, but basically you cannot join a gang. You can work with them, but because you are ultimately a mercenary and you work with corpos, other gangs, or just people in Night City, they can never trust you enough so you can be accepted, which makes sense because a gang is a family and Afterlife, where you're gonna be at, is basically a business. As I said, Afterlife is going to be somewhat of our HQ in a sense, because that is a mercenary bar and that is basically where you can pick up some jobs. Of course you can pick them up everywhere else, but in this specific one you will probably have the best jobs because, well, Rogue and Dex are there, and of course there is a certain code mercs have over there, but it doesn't mean you have to follow it. That means attacking other people inside of Aftermath or going after those other mercenaries on your own. That's kind of forbidden. Also, when it comes to completely destroying a gang through a story or force, Philip said you won't be able to destroy the gang by shooting every member in the game. If there is something like that, it will happen through the story. And because he was a bit reserved with the answer, it tells me that yes, potentially, some gangs can be completely destroyed through a story. Now, regarding minigames, we did know that game will have certain activities like going on a gun range or boxing, etc., but they never actually mentioned that there is something in Cyberpunk which is different and could be as big as Gwent, but obviously not Gwent-like. And as I said, I didn't expect this because initially they said there won't be a Gwent-like game, but to be honest, they never said that there won't be one of those games of that size or importance. So we still don't know what it is, but it should be interesting to see. Definitely excited about that one, and if people will love it as they loved Gwent, they can definitely make a spin-off of that as well. In Cyberpunk we have more tech, so even CDPR can experiment further with that minigame. In The Witcher, tech is, kind of not there, so Gwent makes sense. Here, they can really take one step further. When it comes to vehicles, as it was previously mentioned, you will have a garage that you can store your vehicles in, and you will be able to select which car you want to call, like from the menu, like you would call Roach. And for example, Quadra will come to your place and even honk if you don't notice that it's there, which is a nice detail overall. And because you will be able to select which vehicle you want to call, this tells me that the garage, we have is actually going to be a lot bigger. Keep in mind, Night City is a very dense place, so it actually makes sense that they crafted a system that allows you to put a lot of cars in that place. So for a car collectors, you will have those quests to collect cars and you will be able to fill your overall collection in the garage and in the game. When it comes to quest numbers and the length of the game, Philip said it will have a lot of them, including the main story and all the side activities, both major and minor. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 will be a bit shorter than The Witcher 3 because some people complained that the overall story in that game was stretched out too much. And look, I'm someone who didn't notice it all that much. Maybe, yeah, you know, the game is a little bit too long, but again, when Philip says that it's shorter, in general terms, it basically means, okay, we saw the parts of The Witcher that don't work, you know, we try to make them interesting or cut them out completely. So again, this doesn't mean that you will be able to finish the game fast. Again, it all comes down to you and your playstyle, but from the content standpoint, they promise a lot of it. And keep in mind, this game has a huge replayability value. Just going from the life pads, you will play the game minimum of 3 times, and of course with different builds, with different decisions, every single one of your playthroughs is going to be essentially different. Also, regarding console gameplay and RTX settings for PC, they said that they will actually release the recommended RTX requirements for PC soon, and that the console gameplay is coming before the game releases. So in my opinion, it should be soon, maybe next Night City Wire, because we don't have much until this game comes out. Regarding buildings and how accessible they are, Philip said that most buildings will be accessible, but what they don't want is to have every room just so they can say you can enter every room or every building, because it's all created by hand and not procedurally generated. Every room you go in, or hallway, or a building is going to be different, because they don't want to waste your time with empty buildings or rooms, and I absolutely agree with that. When it comes to fast travel, I already talked about that, but to repeat, yes, using data terms around the city, you will be able to fast travel, and the system is going to be like in The Witcher. You have to find it first to be able to use it. Besides that, you can also use the metro station, and also, of course, you know, can travel with a vehicle. Also, there was a very funny question about which place has the best burritos, and the answer was simple: Haywood. Again, food doesn't matter in terms of you being hungry, but it will help you regenerate health and provide some other bonuses from eating and drinking. It also seems food can be used like in The Witcher, mid-combat, so it's always good to have some stuff with you so you can always pop in if you're hit. Besides that, you will also have consumables and buffs you can use during or before you go into a fight. Not really potions, but we've seen the use of, you know, reflex boosters and stuff that activates the Kareznikov, for example, mid-fight, so you will be able to use those things. Also, there won't be fetch quests, which is really nice to hear. You know, each quest will have some sort of a twist or turn that will complicate or deepen the story itself. Again, going back to some dev insights from Night City Wire, Miles said that one of the characters of the game is the city itself, and their overall idea is to make the city believable, that when you interact with everything, it feels alive and not just a place in the game, if you get what I'm saying. And as a player, you will be just another person in the city, you know, another Chumba. You know, technically stuff around you will continue with or without you. They also wanted everything to make sense, and that's why every street in the game has a name, which is great. Overall exploration will feel different from The Witcher, for example, just because of that verticality and how packed, you know, the city is. You know, it's more personal, more moment to moment, as Miles said. Also, you will have activities as you roam, like getting a call from your fixer where he says that there is a job nearby you can do, etc. Besides all activities that I mentioned, there will be even smaller ones that you encounter as you walk. So for example, some gangs, you know, could be in the back alley as you're just walking through, so there will be multiple situations and I guess funny encounters in the game. And for the second dev insight, we had Mateusz Towaskiewicz, who is a quest director for Cyberpunk. He went more into detail about gangs, and overall, you know, they will be extremely important in the city because you will encounter them through most of the quests and activities. Keep in mind, most fixers work closely or are tied to a gang, like Padre is to Valentino's. And regarding clothing and different outfits from different people like Militech, Arasaka stuff, yes, you will be able to get their stuff and actually wear it as your own. And for the end, it was also confirmed by Philip Weber recently that the shows you had seen in the latest Night City Wire trailer, you will be able to watch in your apartment or when you're out in the city itself. And that's pretty much everything we have regarding those news. If more Q&As pop up, I will definitely make a video around that, and also analyze the second trailer during this week along with lore videos. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, click that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest Cyberpunk news and join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also have a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through there, and huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.